Gabriel Yule, are you ready?
Are you?
It's phenomenal.
I was a bit in awe of him.
It's absolutely amazing.
Jet, I think, is probably the best martial artist in the world. Who can be a better villain than himself?
I think a few months ago, I received a script for Revolution. I think James Wong, they have a very interesting idea. Talk about a multiverse.
Every universe in it is irrational, sloppy. I just try to make it rational. I just try to make it neat.
I've always been a big fan, so I was a bit in awe of him. Sorry, Jet, no problem. I've seen all his films.
I think Jet is a very soulful performer. A lot comes through with his eyes, and that was wonderful to work with and to see.
No, working with Jet Li has been a really wonderful experience. He's an amazing person, very impressive. I mean, this is someone who, when he came to do Lethal Weapon 4, didn't speak a word of English, and now he is, the lead of the film, playing multiple characters.
As an actor, I have a lot of respect for him because he's working in a Hollywood movie in a language that's not his first language, and he's got two guys who grew up basically in America going, hey, it's funny, the joke's like this, and he's coming from a different place, and he's got to trust you that, okay, I'll do it that way, because you'll say it's funny, or you'll say no.
If I'm the 60 pounds, I do this. No, sorry. No, if I'm a 60 person, I just do this, already broken. I know, but he died.
The one thing he doesn't carry is an ego. He's as much of a deflated ego as you'd ever meet.
Throw your head back a little.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, like your eyes are there. That's good. Hold that.
I thought it fun is took some picture. I don't know which universe it, but we just become this person, become this, change one day, become 6 jelly.
He always says that, you can kill me, but don't touch my hair. A lot of the stuff that we was doing, he'd been fighting in the factory, and there's explosions, and he's smashing around, and the next time you see him, all his hair's perfect. Goes through the tunneler, his hair's perfect, and he says, whatever you do, don't touch my hair.
That's the fun part. Judy, my hair stylist, works really hard. Every single movement, we need to clear my hair. Even the wormhole, have a big windy, go to the different universes. The wardrobe work and the pieces by pieces. My hair is perfect. Don't touch my hair. So I think the bad guy have to say, you can beat me up, but don't touch my hair. I will kill you.
Jim and I never thought that we'd ever work with an international star of such magnitude with such an incredible talent.
It was actually a movie that started with The Rock as the lead.
The Rock chose to do The Scorpion King, and Todd Gardner, who was a partner over at Revolution, said, I'm gonna get you Jet Li, and it still fit. So from there, we kind of worked backwards.
We got in a car and on a trip to Las Vegas, really thought about what the area of parallel universes, one versus another.
There is not one universe. There are many. A multiverse.
Matter is never fully destroyed. So we thought that it'd be interesting that if there were parallel me's or you's in different universes, each of our cells are linked by sort of an energy wave. When one of us dies in the other universe, the energy still exists. It just gets redistributed amongst all the surviving ones.
If I went to another universe, and which I would never do, kill the Jim in that universe, I wouldn't get any stronger. But if I went to that universe and killed myself, which I may be likely to do, I would assume that energy.
Well, once James was involved, we wanted to sort of cast against type against what his character would be. You know, Jet has sort of a quiet demeanor, he's spiritual. So who are the opposites of him in terms of the agents who are going to come after him?
This is your last warning. Get your hands where I can see them.
Who the hell is this now?
Well, I met up with Jim and Glenn before Christmas last year, and I expressed my interest in the movie, and I was more excited about this than, you know, probably anything that I've done. Eventually, they put up the white flag, surrendered, and they give it a part.
The greatest thing about Jason was his enthusiasm. He's willing to try anything.
It was painful. You know, the lower back isn't what it used to be.
Jason's amazing. That's all I can say. He's done all but a few of his own stunts on this film. When we were at the factory, for instance, there was this one sequence where he had to walk on a pipe that's no more than 5 inches in diameter, and he's 15 feet off the ground with no pads, nothing.
You know, he was always saying, hey, I can do that stunt. When we had to pull him back from, no, I can do that. And he said, no, that's why we have stunt doubles, because we don't want to get you hurt.
I have a lot of energy. He really want to fight. I really want to fight. He have a very good physical ability.
Jason originally, when we began training him, you know, we would give him just punches, not a lot of kicks. But Jason's like, no, I want to learn, you know, Chinese kung fu. I want to learn martial arts, you know. And Koi had him do like spinning kicks and jump front kicks and all that.
Anything that sort of creates a bit of adrenaline, I subscribe to all the time.
Yeah, all right.
I'm in the best company, you know, I really am. I felt him. I felt me. It was me.
People get older, Gabe. They don't get stronger. They don't get faster all of a sudden.
Well, Carla is, you know, she's a joy. I mean, she's one of those performers who'll try anything you want to give them, and they take it and run with it.
I have new nails.
She's been terrific. She came in at the last minute. Not a big role, but it's extremely important. If you don't like her, if you don't believe in her, the whole thing falls apart.
When we first meet her, she is one of the sexiest women you ever see.
The second character I play, who's actually introduced first, is Mazzy, who is, you know, your quintessential femme fatale vixen. She's sort of a human version of Jessica Rabbit. I realized from the crew that was sort of the consensus, was Jessica Rabbit.
The great thing about Carla is she has to play 3 characters of, you know, 3 different TKs in this movie.
You know how we all have many sides. Some of our sides are just more extreme than others.
And all 3 of them, you can see the same character but with different spins on it, and I think that's really a tribute to what she can do.
The energy of life goes in a circle, in a perfect flow, balanced. That day, I first saw her in the clinic. I knew right away she was my center. She made me whole.
One of the first things Jet said to me when he and I sat down to talk was, it's really important to me that this relationship is the heart, is that there is a humanity here, because if you don't care about the characters, who cares about how amazing the action is? Gabe! Oh my God.
I'm okay.
And that was such a wonderful thing to hear going into a project like this, where you know that the action is going to be spectacular, and you know that there are going to be all these wonderful, visually, you know, arresting sequences. But it's nice to also know that there hopefully will be sort of a heart behind it.
Jet had some thematics that were important to him that he'd like to express in all the movies he did.
Things need a balance. We see a lot of action films and they focus on the physical part more than the internal, inside, the philosophy, the power.
You really need to use martial art to help the character develop, the character grow up.
You have good Jet Li fighting bad Jet Li, so how do we distinguish the 2 different characters? So the audience can look at it and go, oh, you can identify one particular style with the good Jet Li and one particular style with the bad Jet Li. Koi came up with a style called Borchardt, which the fighter fights in a circle. It really goes well with his character because the good Jet Li, a character that tries to find his center. And then the other one is called Xin Yi. Xin Yi is a style where the fighter fights in a straight line, which goes very well with the bad Jet Li. He's the kind of guy that would not care about anything else, but just go straight forward and try to obtain what he wants. We put these 2 very opposing styles together, and it's very interesting to see how they all, come together.
You know what? I mean, not getting
He's a brilliant director. He doesn't come much sharper than Jim. You know, he gets you to do stuff, and he knows exactly what he wants.
He's got a place for every piece, and he shoots a lot of coverage and a lot of pieces.
Jim has every shot pre-planned, and I think he has an incredible sense of the film. So I found it a real challenge just to try to, you know, stay in tune to that vision. But it truly has been a wonderful experience.
James Wong 咧，其實
It's funny because when he found out that James is Chinese, you know, he's thinking, oh great, you know, I get to work with a Chinese director in Hollywood because, you know, I don't speak any English, I'm able to communicate with him in Chinese. So it'll be great, right? So when he met James Wong, he found out that James, you know, speaks very little Chinese. She was like, huh? And then, but he's able to understand a lot.
You know, also because he co-wrote the script, he has a real sense of a very, you know, strong sense of the story. He's not someone who is directing, you know, someone else's story. So that's nice because maybe there might be something that comes up that feels more organic if I were to alter the line slightly or change the action somewhat. Directors who are very confident in their work, I find that they are the more collaborative directors generally.
Everybody know we stand in the same boat. We want the movie is very exciting, very entertainment, very interesting. So I think he's a very nice guy to work with.
Now what I'd like to do is something that looks like you make in the movie.
Okay. The Spider-Man, have they wrapped yet? No, you know, we've been friends for 20 years, and it's nice to be in that situation with someone who, without trying to sound goofy, over dramatic, is, you know, like another brother.
I've known Glenn since I was in high school.
Anything that's good, I do it. Anything that's bad, it's all him.
We know how each other think, and we know that the other person is always there for us. Suggestions, comments, you know, new ideas.
What did I say?
It's really like working with another director.
It's nice to be able to walk outside and go, what are we doing?
I'm absolutely amazed with what I've seen.
Shit. It'd be great if we could do it all again.
50 years ago, the sci-fi, today maybe just our life. Today we think it's just something, but maybe 50 years, another 100 years become true.
It's incredible. We wanted to stage an outstanding fight, and that just by itself there is a challenge.
The system is different. American, the director, you know, have a lot of power to do this. Of course, they need a studio proof. Hong Kong sometimes they have a lot of freedom. You know, they do this. They don't need a studio proof. They just do this, do whatever they want right away. They change this. Both sides have good thing, both sides have bad thing.
On this film, it's a little bit different than most. I've worked very closely with Corey Ewing, who is the fight choreographer. What we do is we'll go in together and we'll talk about it, and Corey's been wonderful in terms of looking for other input, and you know, we'll toss around ideas together. I'm actually very amazed. I mean, Corey comes up with some very creative different types of fights that I haven't seen in the past.
This movie is a little different than other martial arts movies that you've seen. We try to keep the wire technique to a minimum. We utilize more of Jet Li's martial arts ability. He's so good at it. The audience wants to see the way he fights.
Corey is a very close friend of mine, and so we know each other very well. He knows what I can do. I know what the best way to choreograph the movement. So that's why we always work together.
Okay.
Just given the nature of this film, rehearsals are essential. So I'll go out and videotape some rehearsals and run them by Jim, and then we'll talk some more, and you know, we kind of fine-tune it to the point where then he, you know, he'll sign off on it, and then we'll go shoot it.
Usually we decide all the movement, then like the stuntman to test some reaction, you know, safe, not just for me, even for my partner or the other person fight with me. We need to show our actor, show to the director, it's safe to do days, you know, and then I decide to do it.
Jet is very smart with action. I mean, you tell him, you know, something and instantly he gets it. He's very quick.
And so at that point, we'll look at it and say, how can we enhance this? And we do that through our technology, using various types of, you know, wire gags, pneumatic ratchets, and so forth. So it's kind of a combination of East meets West, and I think it's worked out quite well.
You can't really show you moving as fast as being able to dodge bullets unless we stretch your time, right?
You know, director James Wong wanted to save the bad Jet Li and the good Jet Li's confrontation to the very end. And that is the first time that they come together on that catwalk. And because the catwalk is really high up, it's like 20, 30 feet up in the air, and it's really narrow too. So there's a lot of danger involved. And we have, you know, Jet and our stunt guys, you know, rehearsed a lot of times. So they're comfortable with the surrounding, just because it's you know, it's so high up, and we can't have them on safety wire because they need to move and they need to do all these, you know, fights.
Usually for big action movie, it takes 2 weeks to finish the whole ending scene. We took 4 weeks. Only the one scene, 4 weeks.
YOLO! You came here for me. Now I'm here for you.
The second challenge we had was there's the superhuman aspect of these fighters, in that they can do things that are faster than we can see, stronger.
How in the world do you do that? When I started on the movie, it had a very different makeup. The Rock was playing the lead role, and the fighting style had been very different than Jet's. More street brawl kind of fighting. When that changed and Jet became the lead in the movie, it changed the nature of the movie. We, at the beginning, had a lot of the same signature shots. The chorus line fight, and this is what we call the sequence in the loading dock, where Jet is fighting 4 cops, and he is going at one speed and the cops are going at another speed. The first thing we tried was actually having live actors, and we had one actor being hit and being photographed at 120 frames a second, and then looking at that playback and then having the actor who was going at normal speed hit the points at the right point, so he looked like he was being hit in high speed and slow speed, and putting those together. And that was interesting, but it really didn't work that well because it was so cumbersome. It was so cumbersome photographically to actually photograph 4 actors being hit and being photographed in slow speed, and then having Jet go around and hit these invisible points and make it feel like everything was integrated. So it was really an impossible task to do that photographically and limiting. So we decided that the best way to really do this would be to make CG cops. So here you see Jet fighting green tennis balls. And basically the green tennis balls are in the place of where the CG cops are going to be. So he knows exactly where in space he needs to hit. And that gives you a frame of reference.
No person, no people. I need to imagine, oh, here I have one guy. There I have one guy. Then say, no, you missed that. I missed that. The ball only this big.
A funny thing about this shot is that in the first preview, of course the CG wasn't completed yet, so this shot of Jet with the green tennis balls was in the sequence. And the audience went wild. They thought it was fantastic. They thought it was some exotic training technique that Jet was doing with these green tennis balls, and they loved it. After photographing him with the green tennis balls, took the tennis balls out, and then had him go through the action again without the tennis balls. And Jet is incredible as a mover and just as a physical actor, because he is completely able to hit the same place at the same time repeatedly. And it's very unique to be able to do that and stay in performance. This sequence has numerous techniques, cyber-scanned actors that were modeled and placed in the environment. There are artificial floors, their lights are added in computer lighting techniques, a lot of things to make this shot look real. And really the essence of it and the whole thing you want to take away from it is that Jet is fighting at one speed and everyone is reacting very slow, and so slow that they can't keep up with it. So as they move around, he is just able to punch them in the head or hit them in the gut or flip them and do that with ease because he is so fast.
Holy shit! He's doing 50!
We decided to use a technique where when he's really moving in super speed, one way is to just show him really going really fast, but how is that, you know, he would be sort of like a blur to us. What we decided to do is to change perception of how we see ourselves.
In the climax of the fight sequence, all these sparks come out and surround Yulaw and Gabe as they're fighting. The opening sequence, you see all the sparks there in real time, and as soon as they make contact, the sparks slow down, and everything is slow during that sequence. So to do that, we needed to photograph Jet and his stunt double at 24 frames a second, normal speed as they're fighting, and the background we had to shoot at 120 frames a second, so it would appear to be very slow. Now, we had sparks all over the place, and sparks hitting them and sparks surrounding them. So we really did a combination of live photography of sparks shot at high speed and animation, which we could simulate the look of the high-speed sparks.
Of course, some, run to the fire room, or jump from the helicopter, jump down, they don't allow us to do this. They have a special class, special double, stuntman to do this kind of thing, do this kind of move.
That was one of my stuntmen, David Wald, and what we did, it required quite a bit of preparation.
1, 2, 3.
I believe we had 5 propane mortars in that sequence.
Basically a propane accumulator tank, and on cue we release a set amount of propane. We're going to try 30 pounds first here and try to blow a fireball right up behind the guy when he's being ratcheted out of the picture.
Gives you a very intense, large fireball, but it dissipates rather quickly. We had our stuntman, David, in a complete fire suit. He was on his own internal air supply, and he was wearing a life mask that resembled Jet. So the rigging and the preparation for that, it takes quite a while to get it to that level, because the temperature actually exceeded 1,000 degrees right at the mouth of the nozzle, and he was no more than 6 feet away from that. So, and timing is critical, because once he's all suited up and ready to go, he only has about 1.5 minutes of air, which sounds like a lot considering the gag only lasts a few seconds, but By the time you zip up the clothing and get everything ready, roll all the cameras and so forth, you know, you've used up about a minute of that minute and a half.
Don't you people ever learn?
The best way to determine what it looks like in this sequence is to pre-visualize it. The art department did a great job in making this G.I. Joe version of the sequence.
Don't you people ever learn?
And put this together, and it was cut and gave just a great template for everybody to understand what was needed in the sequence. And then from there, we made computer CG animatics to go over that and to work with that action. David Ebner and the people from Computer Cafe did the animation, did the whole sequence within, I think it was probably 3.5 weeks or so. Get the scans of the actors and make these motorcycles. And we're able to do a great sequence, which I think is good in that is something you haven't seen before. You've never really seen anybody grab these giant Kawasaki motorcycles and show the power that this person has in that manner. That sequence was shot at the beginning of September, and those were in the next preview, and really successful. People loved that, and it was something that you could read in a matter of half second and understand what it was, and becomes a signature shot and sort of an icon for a certain effect. The bullet cam shot, this was the first shot that we did. This was in the first day or two of photography.
Oh yeah, you did a great job.
We're putting it on the B-roll.
We got it. We had to have a camera move that was slow enough to not be dangerous, but he needed to look like he's moving slowly. So we photographed this at, I think, 36 frames a second. The final result is the camera is moving somewhat rapidly towards him, but he is moving slow. And we altered the frame rate, so he would move fast, slow, and fast. And then the camera moves over to the right and goes through the window. And there's actually a cut at that point in time, and then we take a panorama of that environment and then move the camera over it.
Hand closed.
Randomly, a wormhole that is microscopic can appear anywhere. The ability to open it, I think, 4 feet would take more energy than what exists in the universe.
Since we can't really open the microscopic wormhole, we decided to destroy or disassemble our characters or the people that we want to travel through the wormhole.
It's not a gentle beam me up from one place to another at all. It's very violent, and it's shaking, and it has a sense to it, a sense of violence that you only want to do this maybe once in your life, and that's the last time you'll ever do it again. We needed a 3-dimensional representation of Jet, so we use cyber scanning to do that. And this device actually records many points on Jet's face and gives a 3-dimensional model of Jet, his body, and his face. And that can then be manipulated in the computer in numerous ways.
Is this going to be an issue, being in black?
As you can see, when you cyber scan, because black absorbs the laser, and it needs to reflect off that surface to really capture a scan, we had to make all the costumes in white. And as you see, here are the cop outfits in white, and the laser can then bounce off that surface, and the computer can read where that is and give us a good scan. Film is evolutionary, and the whole process of making films is evolutionary. First time we looked at the reformation, we're looking up at the ceiling of this place called the clean room, and the three guys are coming almost as if they're on a carousel. Now, once we started working with that, it became apparent that that perspective didn't really work that well. When they were reforming, the fact that you were looking up and they were coming towards you had a certain dynamic to it, but it just didn't quite feel right. So that was altered. So after you do all this work, where the actors are just thrilled to death at being 20 feet in the air and swirling around on wires, they just love this. You look at it and say, boy, you know, it would be better if we did something else. We had them going left to right instead of all the way around. So sometimes you do it and it works really well, and then, but sometimes you take that raw photography and you alter it in another way, and we actually use that photography at the end of the sequence. So it was used, it was just used in another manner.
Fresh fish. Got a pretty mouth.
I am Eula. I'm nobody's bitch. You are mine.
Basically, Jet takes on 100 guys. The shot will pulls back from a single to this gigantic shot where we see hundreds of people going on top of this pyramid to fight him.
Timing is very important in this, and as you pull back, there'll be lightning bolts, there'll be searchlights, things like that really have to be contained within a certain area. But one of the things that's interesting on a technical level is that we do have a trade-off between live actors and CG actors. As you see, here is an animatic of the pullback. It's a very simple form, and then we start introducing just these little stick figures representing where the other prisoners are going to be. And then we add to it some more texture and some more detail, and then finally you get the fully animated, fully textured CG prisoners that are placed together. This is a movie that really had a lot of handoffs between visual effects and the fight choreography. And I'm just personally really fascinated by that, by movement and how it works with visual effects. And so this was a really exciting subject. All the people on the fight team had a great understanding of what the visual effects were going to look like. So there weren't any real limitations as far as visualizing what this was going to be. I think a lot of the discussions we would have were based on what can be achieved and what can be done.
There's actually a story that's being told in the fight itself, and the American audience watching that, and that's why today it's so popular.
This movie starts off like a rocket and it just keeps going.
I will be the one.
There's a good jet, and there's a bad jet.
Hey.
And bad jet's got so much power that he moves at a different speed than everybody else. So he'll be punching guys at this speed, and they'll be moving like that, and everybody goes, oh yeah, wow, cool. And then when you go to make the film, you really regret pitching that part of the movie.
I'm here, one person. How can I fight myself? But the movie is magic. You know, you can make another guy in jelly fight yourself.
There really only is one Jet Li, believe it or not, and we had to have two of them in this fight. So we had to duplicate Jet and at the same time have them not just be a split screen where, you know, two people are talking and you just film them separately. They're interacting, they're fighting with each other, moving all the time, changing positions. We're trying some new things with the computer in terms of face replacement that hopefully will allow us to seamlessly present two jets.
The mask that they created for the stunt guys to wear was too much. There was a lot of stuff on their face. That was one thing.
This is exactly what one of the old timers would do.
And when you do fight sequence, they sweat. And it's really hard on them. And another one was they cut like a small hole so the stunt guys can see, but the hole they had was just too small, so they don't have any peripheral, vision. And they couldn't see up or down, they can only see straight forward. And as you can understand, when you do a fight sequence, you have to be able to see where the kick is coming from in order to block it.
We came up with a number of different other options. A split screen where you have Jet on one side of the screen and then you have him do the same or corresponding action on the other side, and then you just split down the middle. There's another option that came about, the fact that you couldn't do a simple split screen on all these shots. Jet is making contact with himself, so he actually physically had to be fighting with with himself, with another body, because there's just the fact of what it feels like when someone gets hit. It has to be on the frame. So we had Jet fight with a stunt double, and the stunt double looked somewhat like Jet, but his face, of course, doesn't look like Jet. And that's the real indicator of what the person looks like. It's in his eyes and his facial features.
Just hold it. Okay.
In the face replacements, we did a number of different techniques. We did head replacements, which is obviously one of the best ways to do it because it's the real actor, it's the real head.
Look at this. I think this shadow is too hard. The timing is, we got the timing working. It's like you see the line. Here it's more just, well, actually it's up there anyway, yeah, but still.
One of the issues about doing that is your performance, your scene can't be very long, because if my head is moving around and up and down, and let's say that is 30 seconds long, when you photograph the actor's head that is going to be replaced on the stunt actor, that head has to do exactly the same thing. So it's very difficult to be in performance and have the same perspective and same expression and same motion throughout a long shot.
And cut. Cut it.
Sometimes you're in situations where you have to simulate the look of the face, and you have to build a CG face and put it together. And as you see, this is an example of that, where you took the cyber scan of Jet's face and added different layers, different highlights, lowlights, textures to it, and build that up. So on top of the stunt double, you can get a CG face. That works to a certain extent. It works where it's fast-moving action. If it's very tight, if it's performance and really close, it's very tricky to make that look real. But if it's fast-moving and in the background, it's a technique that can work for certain shots. So that's how we created that.
In this case, both the double and Jet have to fight with equal proficiency. So you couldn't just throw a guy in there as a body. You really had to have the fight was really well choreographed and rehearsed for a long time before we got it right.
Because it's Jet fighting Jet, and this is where we use visual effects to help sell this. And so we would have Jet Li fight with one of the stunt double, and because it's a stunt double, the stunt double they use, they don't have the years of training like Jet does, so the fighting is a little bit different than Jet himself, and that's why it's really hard on Jet, because he has to play both parts.
Sometimes I change wardrobes 12 times a day, so you need to remember. What is the good guy think about it? Why he fighting this? Why? What is his goal? What about bad guy think about it? So, not just physical part, also internal mind. Everything. You need to very clear both sides. In 1974, when I was 11, I came here to do Kung Fu demonstration. And a few cities I went to. In New York, we talked about it before, we have a lot of food, they tell me, be careful, what do you say, people listening to you, they have a bug anywhere. I say, where? They say, like a telephone, under the mirror, refrigerator, I don't believe. I thought it's fun, when you was little kids, you believe, you try to say, ask a lot of questions. Does the teacher tell me this? I want to test. So I test, talk to the mirror. I want ice cream, I talk to the telephone, I say, I want a banana, I ask a lot of things around the whole room. So next day I know is I open the door, anything I asked on the table. I thought, wow, that's true. It's fun. I did a Kung Fu demonstration in the White House in front of the, for the Nixon, President Nixon. After the States, I went back to Hong Kong. Then that's the first time I saw action film, Bruce Lee's martial art film. But the people tell me that the actor already died last year, and that means 1973. And then we thought it was so cool. Then I do some Kung Fu demonstration in Hong Kong. When studio, the manager come to me and say, "Hey, little kids, you want to become the action star?" And I say, "Why not?" So then every year they went to China, talk to me. 5 years later, then they say, "Okay, we don't want to wait. Go to make a movie." And then I start my first movie. So until now, 21 years.
Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to hold it right there. I said freeze, asshole!
Don't you people ever learn?
Hey, I'm Mark Borchardt. You may remember me from American Movie. Well, anyway, the reason why I'm talking to you is because I had a cameo in The One. Now, how did that happen? My phone rang. I picked it up. They said, hey, man, you want to be in The One with Jet Li? I said, yup. So I got a cameo in it. Flew out to Hollywood. First time I was out on a Hollywood set. You know, you have to remember your lines and that. You got 40, 50 people staring at you. But anyway, I did a scene with Darren Morgan, very cool dude, the brother of the producer. But we switched roles, did some improvising. So I'm the dude that has to fall backwards now. So while I was rehearsing my lines in that, they put the mat behind my feet for me to fall on, and I took a little step back and completely fell over backwards on accident, man, and everybody was cracking up. And that totally broke the ice, man, and it was really cool from then on. So I had a really good time out there, man, and that was my experience with that. I get offers from Hollywood to do acting and that. I do auditions and so on and so forth. So it's kind of cool, you know, to get sent the scripts, do the auditions and that. I'm not an actor. It's not what I'm here for, but I think it's cool to check it out. Mike is in a new movie, Todd Solondz's new flick, Storytelling. Mike is been with me since about '89. He did the More to Scarier 3 with me, and I don't think his acting can improve because I think he's on top of his game all the time. He's one with the world, so Mike Shank has got a good slide home in this business. So it was fun going out to Hollywood, but I'm staying in Wisconsin, and I did good with COVID. I've sold about 5,000 copies. My goal was 3,000, man. I stuck with it, so on and so forth. AmericanMovie.com has immensely helped out. So what could be better, man? You know, you work, you see the results of it, and everything's cool. My project, which is Northwestern, my next film, I'm shooting here in Wisconsin. I'm always working on it. It's always in my heart and soul. So going out to Hollywood was a whole different experience, of course, than being here in Wisconsin. The night The One came out, I took my parents, my brother, and my kids. And when my kids saw me fall over on screen, you know, they just were cracking up, and they made me the happiest dad in the world because they had such a fun time watching it. Jet Li was a very cool dude. James Wong was cool. Glenn and Darren Morgan were very cool. Everybody was cool. It was a really good time. Where do I see myself in 5 years? I don't, man. I'm happy today. I'll be thankful for tomorrow. If I'm around in 5 years, that's the greatest thing in the world. But I concentrate on today, and I concentrate on tomorrow. I mean, isn't those 2 days going to be action-packed enough? Okay, what questions didn't I answer? I didn't answer who would win in a fight, Jet Li or Leatherface. I don't feel particularly humorous today. I crossed out how many beers, if any, did you drink before the shoot? I didn't drink any, you know. I drank them afterward. What was your motivation for your character? The motivation for my character was to fall over for $600, man. Thank you.